You've been practicing React for 1 week, and all of those terms have come out of nowhere. Components, states, props, context, this is complicated. Well, I have a good news for you. Don't give up, we are going to make this clear. And let's start by answering the why question. I have an alert. The dog escaped. Nice. And this is another alert. Good news, we have found it. Ha, no problem. I can certainly add some styles to it. Something like this should do it. But I would like this one to be green. I'm going to add another class. Much better, right? I can also use some variables to store the messaging. And of course I can use it anywhere I want. That's good. And caramba, now I would like to change an alert. I would like to change, let's say, the class name. I have to change it here, but here, and also here, and here. Not until now, there is no component stuff, only basic JSX. And this is where the components take place. What I would like to do is to generate this kind of code and to change only the message. And also the color, we are going to figure out how to do that. But ideally, what I would like to do is to write something like this, alert, and that's my alert appears. Of course, it's not appearing Chillax, we are going to create it. This alert is going to generate this content of code. Very easy, right? We are going to do it together. Let's write a function. This function is going to return something. For example, let's say something like this. We put the alert message and we can remove this one. We don't need it anymore. And voila, our component is now created. And now I can use it anytime, anywhere, in any part of the website and also in other projects. This is a piece of code that works on its own. I know what you are thinking. It's not so interesting, it's always going to display the same thing, blah 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 blah. We are going to fix that. And this is where React becomes the best framework. Because yes, of course, I can use this alert everywhere on my site, but it's not very relevant. What I would like to do is to have an alert that I can change the message or I can change the style without having to recreate another component like this. I mean, of course, we can create one different component for every type of alert we want to display. We can, yes. Totally working, yes, of course. But this is not interesting. Hear me out, this is very important. The main goal of a component is to be reused, is to be used anywhere and supposed to work anywhere. Without context, without nothing. I just want to give the information the component needs to function. All I want to do is to only provide the necessary data for the component to be functional. And if we can understand that, we can understand the full power of React. Trust me! What we are going to do now, very slowly, is to merge this component and this component together. And we are going to do so by asking the following question. What is the difference between this component and this component? Let's wait. I know you can find it, of course, let's check it out. The message is different, of course, the message is different, we have to keep note. The class name is different, yes, these are the two differences of the components. So let's think about a generic component that we are going to use to display either a green alert or a red alert. What are the info? What are the parameters we are going to need? We are going to... Let's try to start this. And now all I have to do is to provide the required parameters. We have to give the message, alert, dog escaped, oh god. And also we have to provide the variant, the color, red. It's not working yet, of course. Now we have to shape the component to make it able to receive those parameters, to actually use those data. And all of those information are going to land right here in a big data bag. Let's call it data bag of required parameters. Let's see what we have here. So this is what we have. We have an object containing the color green and message. Nah, never mind. And we also have another object containing the color red and alert dog escaped. And from now on, this is only JavaScript. Remember, this is an object containing two properties, color and message. We split it out. And now we can finally use the message, like this. And we can also use the color like this. We put it here, boop. A few adjustments, and it's totally working. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's crazy. This is all the strengths of React. Being able to make some fully functional components. We just have to write this line of code. We give those pieces of information, and all of this appears. Wow! Unbelievable! And now I can summon it every time I need. I can write everything in here. That's perfect. If I ever need to change something, I just need to change the behavior of my component. It's going to apply on everything else. That's so cool. I want to write something before every message, like a plus. It displays on every message. This is a component. And spoiler alert, this big data bag, you remember, in which we put all the data. This is called the props of the components. So now we know what the props are. The props are the data needed for the component to be functional. You have a microwave, you want the microwave to be functional. You put some data, a timer. This is an initial timer, 5 minutes, let's go. From this day, the microwave is fully functional because it has the props. And now, all you have to do is to wonder what props we are going to give here. Nothing to do here. And this is why React is so powerful. Of course, we can do the same in Angular, Vue, and blah 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 blah. Let's move on to the next chapter. Before leaving, remember that the props can contain any type of data. It can contain strings, of course, numbers, of course, but also some functions. I can give it a full function like this, a function like this that will, like say, let's trigger, haha, like this, super. I can pass anything to my component. This is the name of the props, so we can get it here. And I can do what I want with that. Let's say that if I click on my alert message, I can trigger the function that I have received as a prop. If the function that I have received as a prop is console.log haha, if I click on this, it will display console.log haha. Right? Very easy. I click here, and here is the result of the function, right? But if I click on the other ones, nothing is going to happen. Why? Because every other alert don't have a my super function props. We did not provide any function to trigger when I click on the other alerts. If I want to trigger something, I have to give these props and to give a function. Like this. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen and others, these are the components and these are the props. Now you know everything about it. Let's move on to the next chapter, the states. Let's imagine that I would like to add a small feature on my alert. What I would like to do is to allow the user to mention that it has read the alert. I can see the alert, I can click on a small button to say, that's good, I have seen it, and it will display it on the app. How are we going to do that? First, of course, we need to add a button, like this, perfect. I click on it, nothing happens. Of course, nothing is assigned to it. What I would like to do is to trigger a function. Let's say a function that is going to be called mark as read. Fantastic. And now, of course, you are going to wonder, what is this function going to do? Well, that's a good question. Let's think about it together. Why would I ever need this kind of feature? It's because, in the first place, I would like to change the behavior and the display of my components if the notifications has been read or not. This notification is new, so I display this. If this notification is new, I can display it like this. Once I click on the red button, I can change the display. Make the button disappear, for example. Replace the red text by a little tick, a tick icon. So many good things to do. Let's say we are going to change this text. In JavaScript, the first idea would be to select this button and to change the text in this function. Of course, that's a good idea, only in JavaScript. Please do not do that in React, because that's a component. And a component in React has its own way of functioning. Like React has been designed this way. It has been designed to prevent the user, the programmer, from directly changing this. Why? Because React has a better way to do that. It will use its internal features to update and to refresh the components, but only the parts, the needed parts. We don't really mind about what, why, etc. blah blah blah. What we need to do now is how. How are we going to do that? First, we have to remember either the alert is read or it's not read. If the alert is not in the read state, then we display the word read in the button. Else, we display a tick icon in the button. Let's say that this is just an example. So how are we going to do that in React? Very simple. We are going to store the information that notification has been read or not read. And we are going to write it like this. This is the value of the variable that contains the information. This is the function we are going to call to change this information, to update this information. And all of this comes very gently provided by React. React gives us a way to update efficiently the information that the alert is read or is not read. To do that, we just need to create one variable that will contain the value and one function that will be used to update the value. And the function is ready to be used. Just have to call it anywhere, anytime. Let's go back to our previous function. Remember, we trigger this function every time we click on the alert. So every time I click on the alert, I would like to set the value is read to true. And of course, we have to mention that this is going to be a boolean, so we are going to initialize it. And I can also display the message of isRead value, like this, boop. I know this is hard to follow. Do not hesitate to come back in time to try to catch it up. Remember why we are doing all of this. We need to keep in mind that the alert has its own information and that the information are evolving, and this is changing the way the component behaves. Of course, if I read the notification, it's not going to behave the same way as if I didn't read it. And all of this info are located in this small, tiny, little cutie variable. If this value is equal to false, then I display read, the text read, in the button. Else, I display this emoticon. We save it, and now we can see the difference. I click on the read button, it will be changed into an emoji. Isn't that amazing? I'm waiting for your React, huh? React. And this is it. You know everything about React and React's pros, which are the refresh, the extremely fast refresh of the states, of the components. And above all, you know now, props, states, and components. You know the difference. Props come from outside of the component. A state is a value that will stay inside of the component, but both of them are going to change the behavior of the component. Like the props, a state can contain any type of value, data, arrays, objects, functions, anything. And this is why React is so cool. It's because you can do anything and make it super reusable. Easy to reuse, yes. Super scalable products. You can make super scalable websites thanks to that. If you can understand properly how to differentiate props and states, there's nothing on your way. You should go for it, of course. Let's recap the state part. A state is a value that we are going to need to keep in the component. This value is going to evolve through the lifetime of the component. When I write this, I create, I generate, I give birth to a component. The component is mounted. When I hover on this or when I click on this, then the component lives. It lives its life. And during his life cycle, he's going to go through some updates. The state of the component need to evolve, and hence the component's display will be changed as well. And if everything goes well, whenever I refresh the page, I change the page, I hide the components, there is a conditional display here, then the component is going to be unmounted, killed, end of the line, game over. And after that, the state. If I want to use a state, I need to go for it by using use state. Don't do it in any other way. Only this one is the good way to do it. In React, of course, yes. To do that, there is only one way to do that. First, we give a name to the state, this part of the array. Second, we give a name to the function we are going to call to update this state. We can create as many states as we want for anything. And we can also put any type of data in there. That's not a problem, that's not a limit. All we have to remember is to always keep them by pair. The name is not really important, just use a name that you can remember easily and you can read easily. Remember to never do never to this. This is a very big mistake commonly made when we begin as a React programmer. Because we are updating the state, but now the way intended by React, it's going to mess everything in the updating process. And the app is not going to correctly. It can work, but it will trigger some performance issues and also trust issues as well. Do that. Don't do this. Do this instead. This is very important. This is the only way to update a state. Whenever I call this function, React is going to go to the whole component and to see, oh, what changed? Ah, this part have changed. So I need to refresh. I need to redraw, repaint my components. But I don't need to redraw this part. This part has changed. So this is going to be what we are going to refresh. It's much more quicker than refreshing the whole component, right? You agree? You agree? We agree. And this is why React is so cool and so fast. It's been almost 10 years that I've been developing in React. And what I suggest you is to practice a lot. Take all the time you need to find the difference and to be able to differentiate everything about states, props, and components. Once you have this, you have the whole React philosophy and you can keep going easily, no problem. Context, Redux, Next.js, blah, blah, blah. It's not a problem. If you don't have those core things, it's going to be a very tough journey. Well, I truly hope it helped. If you have any question, of course you write me. I can answer to anyone, anything. So write me, yes, and have fun and have a good one. Ciao!